World War II was a conflict of unprecedented scale and ferocity. Machines of war played a pivotal role, and among them, tanks stood out. These steel beasts redefined land warfare with their firepower. Tanks became crucial in determining victory or defeat across Europe, Africa, and Asia. The clash of tank armies symbolized the intensity of the war. From the German Blitzkrieg to Eastern Front battles, tanks left an undeniable mark on history. At the forefront of Germany's Blitzkrieg strategy was the Panzer IV, a tank that became synonymous with German armored might. The Panzer IV was initially conceived as a support tank, armed with a short-barreled 75mm gun intended for engaging fortifications and enemy armor. However, as the war progressed, the Panzer IV underwent a series of upgrades and modifications that transformed it into a formidable fighting machine. The most significant of these upgrades was the introduction of the long-barreled 75mm KWK-40 cannon. This enhanced firepower, coupled with increased armor protection, enabled the Panzer IV to engage enemy tanks, including the Soviet T-34, on a more equal footing. The Panzer IV was produced from 1937 to 1945, with over 8,800 units rolling off the production lines. Its reliability, adaptability, and combat effectiveness earned it the nickname the workhorse of the Wehrmacht. The Panzer IV saw action on all fronts, from the icy steppes of Russia to the scorching deserts of North Africa. On the Eastern Front, the Soviet Union unleashed a tank that would become a legend of World War II, the T-34. The T-34 was a revolutionary design that combined devastating firepower, impressive mobility, and sloped armor that significantly increased its survivability. Armed with a powerful 76.2mm gun, the T-34 could knock out most German tanks at the time. Its wide tracks and powerful diesel engine allowed it to navigate the muddy terrain of the Eastern Front with ease. The T-34's sloped armor, a design feature inspired by American and British tank designs, proved highly effective in deflecting incoming projectiles. The T-34 was a nightmare for German tankers, who were initially caught off guard by its capabilities. Production of the T-34 began in 1940, and over the course of the war, the Soviet Union produced an astounding number of these tanks. Its simplicity of design and ease of maintenance made it well suited for mass production, even in the face of wartime disruptions and material shortages. As the United States entered the war, it brought with it its industrial might, which included the mass production of tanks. The M4 Sherman, though not as heavily armed or armored as its German or Soviet counterparts, became a symbol of American industrial power. The Sherman's strength lay in its reliability, ease of maintenance, and adaptability. It was armed with a 75mm gun that could hold its own against most German tanks. The Sherman's relatively spacious interior and comfortable crew ergonomics made it a favorite among American tankers. The Sherman was also highly adaptable. It could be fitted with a variety of specialized equipment, including mine-clearing devices, flamethrowers, and even a deep-wading kit for amphibious operations. The Sherman was produced from 1942 to 1945, with over 50,000 units built. It saw action in all theaters of the war, from the beaches of Normandy to the jungles of the Pacific. An infantryman's steadfast companion. The British Churchill tank, named after Prime Minister Winston Churchill, was a unique and formidable machine. The Churchill was designed with a focus on infantry support and was optimized for overcoming obstacles and navigating difficult terrain. It possessed excellent cross-country mobility and could climb steep slopes and traverse trenches that would have stopped other tanks in their tracks. The Churchill was initially armed with a 2-pounder gun, which was later upgraded to a more powerful 6-pounder and eventually a 75mm gun. The Churchill's most distinctive feature was its heavily armored hull, which gave it excellent protection against enemy fire. It was produced from 1941 to 1945, with over 5,600 units built. The Churchill earned a reputation for its durability and reliability, often outlasting its German opponents in the field. It proved to be a valuable asset in the North African campaign and in the later stages of the war in Europe. The Soviet Union's industrial might, the colossus of tank production. The Soviet Union emerged as the largest producer of tanks during World War II. Despite devastating losses, the Soviet war machine churned out tanks at an astonishing rate. By the end of the war, the Soviet Union had produced 85,000 tanks. This output played a crucial role in turning the tide of the war, shaping the battlefield and deciding the outcome. Tanks played a pivotal role in World War II, breaking through enemy lines and providing mobile firepower. The German Blitzkrieg used tanks and air power effectively. Allied forces adapted with anti-tank weapons and new tactics. Allied numerical superiority and improved designs eroded the German advantage. Tanks became indispensable for both offensive and defensive operations. The tanks of World War II left an indelible mark on military history and continued to captivate the imagination decades after the conflict ended. They represent a pivotal moment in technological innovation, a time when the mechanization of warfare reached new heights. The lessons learned from the design, production, and employment of tanks during World War II continue to influence modern tank development and armored warfare doctrine. The iconic tanks of World War II, from the German Panzer IV to the Soviet T-34 and the American M4 Sherman, serve as enduring symbols of the conflict and the ingenuity of the nations that produced them. They stand as a testament to the courage and sacrifice of the soldiers who fought and died in these mechanized beasts, and they remind us of the devastating consequences of war and the importance of striving for peace.